Indefatigably, the Armenian community is making a difference, and the souls of the victims of the genocide will not rest until there is proper recognition that the events occurred and can never be denied. Thank you very much.
I would now like to read a message from the Independent Senator for South Australia, Nick Xenophon. Distinguished guests, federal and state parliamentary colleagues, Reverend Fathers, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you to the members of the Armenian Genocide Commemorative Committee for their invitation to address you all tonight on the solemn occasion of the 97th anniversary of the Armenian, Greek and Assyrian genocides. I apologise for not being able to make this address in person. At the last minute, I was invited by the Malaysian leader of the opposition, Anwar Ibrahim, to be part of the International Fact-Finding Mission, a group of 10 people from around the world who will work together to make specific recommendations on elections in Malaysia. I thank the Armenian Genocide Commemorative Committee for presenting this speech on my behalf. US Congressman Jerry Costello once said, "Genocide is the most potent of all crimes against humanity because it is an effort to systematically wipe out a people and a culture as well as individuals." We come together tonight not just to mourn and commemorate those who lost their lives, but to remind ourselves of how far we have come and how far we still have to go. More and more countries across the world are formally recognising the past atrocities as genocide. Australia is yet to do so. For too many years, people scared of the political repercussions have relied on gaining semantics to avoid taking a stand on the issue. There has been too many discussions of legal versus historical definitions, of specific intention versus circumstance, of who is on what side. But all these arguments forget the most important point. Over 3.5 million people died as a result of the deliberate, systematic actions of the Ottoman Empire. The Armenian, Greek and Assyrian people have endured forced marches into the desert with little or no food or water, and imprisonment in so-called relocation camps, which are effectively concentration camps. Ottoman troops also massacred countless victims in vicious attacks on cities and local villages. These attacks included mass drownings, burnings and poisonings. Tonight, we come together to remember these victims, who are also forgotten by those who seek to avoid this debate. Because this isn't about semantics or definitions or intentions or sides, it's about the millions of people who lost their lives and those who seek to honour their memory. And it is the time for the Australian Government to join us in acknowledging these terrible wrongs. We thank the member, Senator Nick Xenophon. I would now like to read a message from Michelle Rowland, Federal Member for Freemake. I would like to send my support to the Armenian community I represent, and to the wider Armenian community in Australia and abroad, on the 97th anniversary of the Armenian Genocide Commemoration. This occasion provides us with an opportunity to honour the memory of 1.5 million victims of the Armenian Genocide, and to remind the broader community of the historical truths of such a violent crime against humanity. As we honour the memory of these victims of the Armenian Genocide, I reaffirm my vigilance against such crimes. We may never have the words to express the events that took place almost 100 years ago, but we must never forget. We thank Michelle Rowland for her words. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the New South Wales Liberal Party's Honourable John Jacker, New South Wales NLC Parliamentary Secretary for Transport and Roads, to deliver the message of the New South Wales Premier, the Honourable Barry O'Farrell.
Thank you. My parliamentary colleagues, committee members, the Armenian community. Before I read the message of the Premier, can I just indicate the following. As I arrived this evening, a number of your committee members thanked me for attending today. One even made the comment that they were honoured that I was attending with some of our parliamentary colleagues. And I must say that I was a little taken aback by that, because it is not us who should be thanked, but we, myself and my parliamentary colleagues, thank you for the honour of allowing us to share this day with you. I have a Lebanese heritage. My parents came here in the early 50s and I was born here. But one of my very first trips to Lebanon was in the early 1980s. And one of my fondest memories was the days that I spent with the Armenian community in Beirut. It gave me an opportunity to listen firsthand to many of the stories that the elder statespersons had in that community. And I must say, I became aware of the very first time of the serious gravity of what had occurred, the genocide that had occurred. And I must say, it was probably the first time in many years that it brought tears to my eyes, because such events should never have occurred. Today, I come here to read the message from the Premier of New South Wales. And the Premier states, as a multicultural society, we in New South Wales must remain mindful of the histories carried in the hearts of our people. The 1915 genocide perpetrated against the Armenian people will never be forgotten by Armenian Australians, and is an event that saddens us all. In New South Wales, April 24 has been set aside each year as a day of remembrance for the 1.5 million men, women and children who were victims of this, the first genocide of the 20th century. On this sad occasion, while we honour those who suffered, we call on all the people of good heart around the world to acknowledge this shameful episode of history. Words alone will not heal the wounds. We must strive to learn from the past and to ensure that such atrocities are never again perpetrated. As you are all aware, the New South Wales Parliament passed a unanimous motion in 1997 recognising the Armenian genocide. I was proud to be one of the members as part of that historic occasion. I call upon other parliaments in Australia and around the world to give the same recognition. Together, we can work to promote and protect our state's valuable social harmony, and in doing so, we can lead the way for communities around the world who are working towards the same goal. On the 97th anniversary of the Armenian genocide, let us not forget. Barry O'Farrell, MP, Premier of New South Wales. In conclusion, can I please say to the committee, please add my name to those names that you read out of the other parliamentarians. I hope to be invited with my parliamentary colleagues to visit the Armenian Genocide Memorial when that trip takes place. So I finish off with just a small story that occurred. I was mentioning to two of my daughters. I have been blessed with 6 daughters. It is a great blessing. My two youngest daughters asked where I was going today, and I explained to them, and I showed them some of the notes that were given to me with the invitation. And my 8-year-old asked me, why would you go? Why would you want to go somewhere where something so horrible has occurred and try and remember it? And it was a very simple answer. But before I actually got to say anything, my 11-year-old jumped in and said, of course you have to remember it. If you don't remember it, it could happen again. And this is why... Again, thank you for the honour of being here today.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the New South Wales Australian Labor Party's Honourable Walt Beckel, New South Wales MLC, to deliver the message of the Leader of the Opposition, the Honourable John Robertson MP.
Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Walt Secord. I'm a Labour member in the New South Wales Legislative Council. On behalf of the New South Wales Labour Party and New South Wales Opposition Leader, Mr. John Robertson, it is an honour and a privilege to participate in the National Armenian Genocide Commemoration marking the 97th anniversary of the Armenian Genocide. As we all know, April 24th was the day when, in 1915, Ottoman authorities arrested 250 Armenian intellectuals and community leaders. It was a deliberate plan to weaken and destabilize the Armenian community. We see this as the formal start of the Armenian genocide. Over the next 4 years, 1.5 million out of the total population of 2.5 million Armenians were systematically murdered. Tonight, I stand here in 3 capacities. Firstly, as the Deputy Co-Chair of the New South Wales Parliamentary Friends of Armenia and its Labour representative. Secondly, as a proud Australian, but one who was born in Canada to a Mohawk Ojibwe Native American man who belongs to a race that has known and also experienced genocide. But thirdly, I stand here as the first Australian parliamentarian to publicly visit Nagorno-Karabakh. I take great pride in that position. In late December, I visited Armenia and Nagorno-Karabakh, and it was a journey I will never forget. On a freezing December day in Yerevan, I also had the honor of laying the wreath at the National Genocide Museum and Memorial. It is a harrowing memorial that every person and every politician should visit. It showed in graphic detail the destruction of a vibrant Armenian community. Churches, entire neighborhoods, even cemeteries were destroyed. But the National Memorial is also a testament to the survival of the Armenian people. After that visit, I have come to appreciate that detached observation can only get you so far. Some things need to be seen to be understood. Sometimes you just have to be there. And that is why visiting Armenia and Nagorno-Karabakh is the best education for any political leader trying to understand the Armenian community in Australia. Ladies and gentlemen, during my visit to Armenia and Nagorno-Karabakh, I saw remnants of the war everywhere. In Yerevan, there were hills that were stripped of trees to fuel one of the embargoes during the war in Azerbaijan. In Nagorno-Karabakh, I stood on the plateau, which is the site of the liberation of